I want to talk to you about the lessons I wish I'd learned sooner. The years you spend learning things the hard way that someone could have just told you. The seasons you spend stuck, not because you're not talented, not because you're not working, but because nobody handed you the blueprint at the right time. That when I look back, I can see exactly where the turning points were. The lessons I paid for the hard way. Experience is expensive. The first lesson is the biggest one. And honestly, it's the one I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders, shaken me, and said, listen to what I'm saying to you. Hey, welcome back to The Digital Shift. I'm Jessica Green, CEO and founder of the Self-Made Hub, business strategist, mentor, and your favorite unapologetic systems and strategy nerd is kind of what I say around here. And if you're brand new here, welcome. Genuinely, you picked a really good one to start with because today's episode is quite different. Most of the time on the show, I talk about what we built, the systems, the strategy, the results, and I love that conversation. But today I have a different one. I want to talk to you about the lessons I wish I'd learned sooner, or better yet, the ones I wish I'd actually listened to when people tried to tell me them. Because here's what nobody in the online business space really talks about enough. The years you spend learning things the hard way that someone could have just told you, the money you pour into things that don't move the needle because you didn't know the right order, the seasons you spend stuck, not because you're not talented, not because you're not working, but because nobody handed you the blueprint at the right time. But just remember, those blueprints do cost money and time investment. So I've been in this game long enough now to know that when I look back, I can see exactly where the turning points were. The lessons, oh my gosh, I was told that, I could have learned that, I chose the hard way, that wasn't necessary. And the lessons that changed everything. Some of them I had to get beat over the head with. I will be honest with you, literally beat over the head before I finally listened. That's probably my Capricorn stubborn nature. So that's why today, that's all we're going to talk about. If I were starting over right now in 2026 with everything I know, here's exactly what I would do differently. The lessons I paid for the hard way so that you don't have to. So this is not a motivational episode. This is definitely a tactical one, which is really where I love to live, is tactical, because I want you to take something out of this and be able to run with it and be like, I heard someone say, and it literally changes everything for you in your business. Okay. So experience is expensive. Learn from some of mine and let's get into it. So first part, stop building a moat around yourself. The first lesson is the biggest one. And honestly, it's the one I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders, shaken me, and said, listen to what I'm saying to you. Stop building a moat around yourself. And what I mean by that is stop building a business where everything has to run through you, where every decision needs you, where every client interaction needs you, where every piece of content, every sales call, every system needs your hands on it so that it can function and finish the process. Because when you build like that, you are not building a business. You're building a prison with your name on the door. Now, it doesn't mean that your name can't be on the door. It doesn't mean this business can't be around your personal brand, but it doesn't all have to revolve around you. And I'm not being dramatic because I lived this. Natasha and I have both lived this. There was a season where Self-Made could not breathe without us. Every system, every decision, every fire, it all came back to us. We are just now, slowly crawling out of that deep, dark dungeon that we've trapped ourselves in. And we are working constantly to get out of there. And the business is growing, but it's growing on our backs. And that's a ceiling that we can't surpass if we don't get out of that, right? It is real. And you cannot push through it with more hours or more effort. Trust me, I've tried, because we are the bottleneck. And until we can figure out how to get ourselves out of the way, but we've built this moat around us, right? We've built this like island where it's very hard to swim across and not get eaten by the alligators because we've built so much that relies on us. So the best advice we ever received on this came from going to work with Alex and Layla Hormozi at acquisition.com headquarters. We did a 2-day workshop with their entire team. Okay. And the entire focus was this: How do you shift your business so it's not totally reliant just on you, even if you're building it to own it, not sell it? Now, as you know, acquisition.com is all about acquiring businesses. But what they're doing in this workshop is helping business owners figure out how to make the business acquirable. So you can't have a moat built around the owners if you want your business to be acquired at some day. Now, let me stop for a second and say that is not what we are building. We are building to own. We are not building to sell. Not right now. And it's not even really in our game plan. That's not what we want to do. But it doesn't mean that we can't build the business to scale as though it could sell. It makes it more valuable. So we still wanted to do this workshop, even though we're not looking to be acquired. It made the most sense to us to have someone who's been there, done that, and scaled a lot of businesses like Alex and Layla Hermosi have, to figure out how we could get out of this, building this business around us, because we're the faces, we're the brand. So we were really uncertain of how to do that. And this distinction really matters because a lot of people here remove yourself from the business and they think that that means that you're going to build to exit. And that is not what this is about. This is about building a business that can run, that can breathe, that can grow, that can serve your clients at the highest level without you being the single point of failure for every function inside of it. So think about this like an orchestra. The conductor does not play every instrument. She or he leads. She sets up the tempo. She holds the vision, but the conductor had to personally, if the conductor had to personally play the violin, the cello, the drums, the trumpet, all at the same time, the music would fall apart. Your business is the same. You are the conductor. Build a business where you can actually conduct, not one where you are running between instruments trying to play them all yourself. When in business owners, here's the thing, and this is why we did it. It's not because we needed to have control over all of it. It's because, which is all what my last episode was just about, is all about the hiring process. So if you're listening to this episode and you're like, well, but how do I get out of that? Go back and listen to episode 80, because I talk all about why you need to hire now, why you need to hire before you're ready. So business owners do this and get stuck in this rat race because they think they can't afford to hire, which is where we were at. So we just felt like, I'll just add 10 more hours onto my week. Natasha will just add 10 more hours onto her week. And then we'll be able to get all these things done and everything will be happy, except for the fact that now everything is built on our back and it is really hard to pass over what I know how to do to someone who is not like the owner of the business. It's never going to be done exactly the same way. And it's really hard to train your way out of that. So we did it backwards. I'm trying to save you time. Don't do it backwards. You can absolutely hire before you think you can afford it. I talked about that in episode 80. So go back and listen to it. And don't get stuck in this building a moat around you. This is not how I do this better, or how does this get done without me? That's a completely different question, and it leads to completely different infrastructure. So if your business cannot run without you in the room, you do not have a business. You have a job you built for yourself. Now, I am a big fan of knowing how to do almost everything to a certain degree inside of my business, so that if I ever am found in a spot where revenue's down for a month, or well, probably more than a month, revenue's down for a little while, or someone quits, or I have to fire somebody, I can generally, myself or Natasha, someone pretty major key player on the team, could step in and handle that role a little bit until we got someone new on board. I like that safety net. That's me. That's a personal preference. Maybe it's not you, but I like that security and knowing that I can step in to different things when I need to. Now, second lesson, and I needed to get beat over the head by this one too, multiple times before it finally stuck, which is hire slow, fire fast. And yes, hire before you think you can afford it. So hire slow, fire fast. I know you've heard that before. Everyone has heard that before, but hearing it and living it are two different things, because generally what we do is we hire fast and we fire slow, especially if you're someone like me. I have a huge heart. I don't want to fire people. I don't like firing people. I just want to make them be great because I think everyone can be great. But that makes you hang on to people a lot longer than you should when they're not the right person for the right job. So you find someone you like, they seem capable, they seem bought in your heart, because you're a good person who leads with loyalty, your heart says, let's give them a chance. And then when it's not working, when the signs are there, your heart says, but they're trying, but they're a good person. But if I just give them a little more time, and I'm telling you from experience, from expensive, painful, time-consuming experience that loyalty is it's the wrong seat that costs you more than an empty one. It is absolutely a wrong seat, will cost you more than an empty one. My heart and my loyalty are too big sometimes. I say that knowing it is also one of my strengths. But as a CEO, you have to learn when loyalty is serving the mission and when it's holding the mission back. That's been a big one for me to have to learn this year. I wish I'd have known that and done that right from the start. Hire slow means vet thoroughly. Check for alignment, not just skill, but values, pace, ownership. Don't rush a hiring process just because you're overwhelmed. And that's how you end up managing more problems instead of fewer. And I've done it enough times to know it's a big mistake and it's a costly one. Fire fast means when you see the misalignment, when the data is clear, when the pattern is established, act. Do not wait 6 months hoping it gets better. It rarely does. And every month you wait, you're paying the cost in momentum, in culture, and your own energy. According to the US Department of Labor, a bad hire can cost a company up to 30% of that employee's annual salary. And that does not account for the hidden cost, the lost productivity, the cultural drag, the opportunities that were missed because they were wrong, and the wrong person in the wrong seat. Now, here's the other side of this coin, and I need you to hear both parts. Hiring will be the cornerstone of your scaling. And if you need more information about that, I do a whole episode on it. Episode 80. It's two before this one. We're on 82. Go back, listen to that one if that's the position you're in. So you think you can't afford to hire, so you keep doing it all yourself. You keep wearing every hat. You keep saying, I'll hire when the money's there. Wrong. You will not scale and make enough money unless you hire. That is the part most people get backwards. And I just literally learned this lesson finally in these last few months. The hire is not the reward for making more money. The hire is the mechanism that allows you to make more money. Because while you're spending 4 hours a day on operations and admin work and client delivery and follow-up and social media, you are not spending those 4 hours selling or leading or creating or growing the things that you should be spending them on. So think about a baker who makes the best sourdough in town. We have quite a few of those around here. Every loaf is perfect, but she's also doing the books and answering emails and managing inventory and mopping the floor at midnight. She could sell twice as many loaves. The demand is there, but she's physically maxed out. The moment she hires someone to handle the operation, she's drowning, and she does not just save time. She unlocks the revenue that was always waiting on the other side of her capacity. The hire does not cost money. The not hiring costs revenue. That was a very hard one for me to learn. And I'm so grateful I now know this. You will not scale past your own capacity. The hire is not the reward for the growth. It's the mechanism that makes the growth possible. All right, number 3, one offer, one channel, 1 year. This third lesson, I wish I had done 3 years ago. Hear me loud and clear. If you are at the beginning or you're juggling between offers and you're throwing noodles to a wall, hoping something will stick, listen to this one now and take action. I tell everybody this. Everybody, every one of our tech savvy students, every one of our lab members, every one of our platform members, I tell them all the same thing. If you are struggling to get your revenue to a point where you feel like you can sustain, you need to go back, go to your main offer, take that one and work on it for 1 year. Pick one offer, pick one way to promote it, learn it, optimize it, and scale it for 1 full year before you add anything else. 1 year. I know that sounds extreme, and I know your brain's already screaming, but what about this path and that path and this path? No, one offer, one promotional channel, 1 year. You have to master it, how to build it, how to sell it, how to deliver it, and how to promote it, all of it deeply before you start stacking. Because here's what happens when you don't. You launch an offer, it does okay. So you think, maybe I need another offer. So you build a second one. And now you're splitting your energy, your marketing, your attention, and your data across 2 things that are both half optimized because you don't have enough time or capacity to get really good at the one thing. And then you think, maybe I need to be on more platforms. So you're now on Instagram and YouTube and a podcast and TikTok, and none of them are performing because you cannot go deep enough on any of them. I am telling you this. If you're like, ooh, yikes, Jessica, that sounds like me. I'm telling you this because I did it. We did it. We did all of these things wrong. All of them. We would probably be 3 times the size of the company right now if these things I've just told you, the hiring, the one offer, one year. If we had just done these things from the beginning, we'd probably be 3 times the size of our company right now. That's how businesses stay stuck. Not from lack of effort and not from lack of focus. It is from more lack of focus. It really isn't anything else. So for us right now, our primary lead generation channel is our weekly free workshop. One workshop every week consistently. Now, did we try our hand at this a few times and did they work? Yes. But you know what? The one thing we did wrong, and well, 2 things we did wrong. One, we thought that the workshop had to be something different every single week. Like as if we weren't trying to get new people on these workshops every week. We didn't need it to be different. And that's what we were doing. And it was burning us out because every week we were having to come up with new content and new ways to feed people in and new funnel pages for the registration. And like, what were we thinking? It seems so clear now. I want to bash my head up against a wall because I'm like, what were we thinking? So what did we do? Not one time, but 2 times, quit doing them because they burnt us out. We're like, this is burning us out. Then a business associate of mine said to me in last October, we decided the 3rd time we were going to start these weekly workshops up again, but we were going to be changing the subject matter every time. And a friend of mine came to me and said, Jessica, stop changing it. Just make it the same workshop. You're trying to get new people on the workshop every time. You're not trying to bring the same people back to the different workshop. And I was like, oh, right. It might seem boring to me, but guess what we say around here? Repeat after me. Boring makes billions. So for us right now, doing that workshop, we started in October. We weren't doing it weekly at that point. We were doing it 3 times a month because of our schedule. So 3 times a month since October. Can you imagine how many leads we have racked up in our database now from doing that free workshop every single week for October, September. Wow. I like to count backwards. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's 8 months. Okay. We have like 4 more months to go and we're not getting off of that weekly workshop. We've arranged it. We've optimized it. We sell something from it. And it's been an amazing thing to learn how to do and get really stinking good at. There is so many things from ads to funnel pages to optimizing your sales strategy to pitching to the slides to what you're teaching to getting audience feedback and running that through AI. There are so many things to learn to get really good at just a free workshop. So we will not quit that. We will keep doing it for an entire year. And if at the end of that year it's going super good, maybe we don't have to do them live anymore. And we can put them on Evergreen. People ask me all the time, can I just build a workshop and put it on Evergreen? My answer is absolutely not. Do not even think about it. It will never work. I've tried it. I've tried it plenty of times. It never works. You need to do it live for a year. And that makes people squirm. But I can guarantee that if you did, you would probably I will almost guarantee that you will make a whole lot more money than you could ever possibly do if you keep changing the horse every race. Okay? Hey, quick pause before we continue, because if you're listening to this podcast and thinking, I love the strategy, but the tech still feels overwhelming, you're not alone. That's why Tech Savvy School exists. Tech Savvy School is where entrepreneurs learn how to actually build the systems behind a scalable business. Funnels, automations, workflows, and tools explained in plain language, step by step. No guessing, no duct taping platforms together anymore, just clarity and confidence with the tech that supports your growth. This podcast helps you think differently about your business. Tech Savvy School helps you implement what you're learning. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck on the tech side of things in your business, visit techsavvyschool.com and explore the trainings. All right, let's get back to the episode. Stay tuned because we are going to have a new lab coming up that is just going to be on how to build your webinar workshop so that you can run it repeatedly, have all the bells and whistles, learn from all of our mistakes over this last year, and speed your process up. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to us because when that drops, everyone will know. Get on our list, and then you'll be able to take like a 4-week lab where we'll work with you on building your workshop or webinar. So because when you run one thing every single week, when you collect the data, read the feedback, refine the message, tighten the conversion path, test the follow-up, you'll get so good at it, it becomes a machine for you. Then, and only then, can you possibly put it on autopilot? Not because it was magic from day one, but because you gave it enough reps to actually make it work. Okay. So, a study by McKinsey found that companies with a focused product strategy, fewer offerings with deeper market penetration, outperform diversified competitors by an average of 30% in revenue growth over a 5-year period. Focus is not a limitation, it's a multiplier. I wish that's the lesson right there, that statement. Focus is not a limitation, it's a multiplier. And for whatever reason, lack, fear, whatever, we as business owners feel like if we just focus on one thing for a year like that, we're limiting ourselves. And it's not. It will actually help you multiply because you will bring in a whole lot more revenue. Think about it like a martial arts person. She does not become a black belt by practicing 100 techniques at once. She becomes a black belt by practicing the same 10 techniques 1,000 times. Think about Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi, right? Mastery comes from depth, not breadth. Your business works the same exact way. One offer, one channel, 1,000 reps. And that's where the mastery and the money will live. Promise. You do not need more offers. You need more reps on the one you already have. Number 4, this is a biggie. This is the one that we got right. And so I'm very proud of this one because it is not one that I would change, but I want you to know one that we did right was invest in mentorship. Yes, before you can afford it. Yes, before the bank account shows all that money in it. Absolutely, hands down, 100%. You will always, always make more if you invest in mentorship, and you'll go much faster. So, 4th lesson. This is the one I'm so proud of because it's the one that we did get right. You'll never outpace your personal or professional development. Never, ever, ever, never, never, never. Ask any billionaire. You'll never outpace your personal and professional development. I will plant a flag on that hill, and I'm not coming down until you listen, because I did do this one right, and it has moved mountains for us. Pay for mentors, a lot of them, as much money as you can. And no, not because you can afford it. Yes, you have to do it before you can. All right. Now, I know. Some of you are hearing and thinking, oh, of course she's saying that. She sells mentorship programs. And I want to address this head on. I am not telling this so that you will buy my program. I am telling you this because it is the single most important investment decision I've ever made in a business. And the people who know, ask them. I promise you, even if they don't sell mentorship, they'll tell you that that's what got them there. Fast, furious, and they skipped a lot of errors and mistakes and sped up the process. So you will not grow or scale without additional skill sets, period. The version of you that started this business is not the version of you that scales it. And you are not going to learn the skills you need by Googling at midnight and watching YouTube tutorials. Promise you. Will those help? Sure. The mentors are a way, way better investment of your time. When you invest in a mentor, you're paying for 3 things: speed, agility, and error avoidance. Speed. What would it take in 18 months of trial and error? A great mentor can collapse into 90 days. Think about 18 months versus 90 days. We teach, train, and coach female entrepreneurs how to infuse AI, automation, tech to scale their business. Do you think that investing in us will get you there faster than if you try to do YouTube University and all the things? And you know what the number one excuse is? Everyone tells me yes, by the way. Everyone knows that will collapse. I'm going to actually put a calculator at the end of this episode so that you guys can see. Okay. We have a nice little calculator. All you have to do is put in your offer price, whether you have some of the systems in place for automation, offer price, and how many leads you generally get on a monthly basis. And then if you have these 3 automated things in place, and it will spit you out exactly how much money you are losing by not adding tech, AI, and automation into your business. Do the calculator. You will thank yourself later for knowing that number. But, we know that people will tell us all the time, I know that you'll collapse the time, right? So if you were going to spend the next 18 months building out your business and you could collapse it to a 90-day time frame, what would that make you? And this is what the calculator shows. What would that make you in the difference of that 3 months versus 18 months? What is that? 15 months of time? That's the difference. So if I could tell you, this is just round numbers, if you could on your own take the next 18 months to learn a skill set, how to just use mine, how to infuse tech, AI, automation to scale your business, and you could get to, let's just say, a $10,000 a month income from your business. You could go do it on your own, try to learn it on your own for the next 18 months, or you could come work with me for the next let's say 3 to 6 months, let's say 90 to 180 days. And you could get to that $10,000 a month income. Now you've got probably 12 to 14 months, maybe a little bit more than that at $10,000 a month. What's the math on that? So people tell me all the time, I can't afford it. You can't not afford it. You just cost yourself like 120 grand over the next 18 months minimum. That's minimum. You just cost yourself. You would make that in the meantime. So you can't afford not to. Okay. I get stuck on that soapbox, so I'm going to get off of it. Agility. You'll learn to pivot faster. You learn to read markets, adjust offers, read data, and respond to changes in real time because you have someone in your corner who's already seen the patterns before. They know exactly which direction to tell you to go so that you don't go the wrong direction for 6 months. And then, oops, I'm going to get back on path. I'm going to go down another one for 3 months. Oops, I'm going to get back on path. We save you from doing that. Okay. And then error avoidance. The most expensive lesson in business is the one you could have avoided entirely. A good mentor does not just teach you what to do, they show you what not to do. And that saves you more money than investment ever costs. Here's a caveat, little star, little pin I'm going to put in this. I've seen a lot of mentors that will charge a lot of money for people to just pretty much follow them. And so people keep spending the same amount of money over and over and over and over and over for the same exact skill. It's different with tech and AI. That stuff constantly changes. So continuing to come back to something like that is just always leveling up your skill. But if you keep going back to the same mentor and paying them thousands of dollars and they aren't teaching you anything new that they didn't teach you last round in their mastermind, it's time to find a new mentor, guys, because that's just someone that is like having you pay to follow them. All right. Here's a stat for you. Entrepreneurs who receive mentorship are 70% more likely to survive past 5 years and grow their revenue 3.5 times faster than those who go it alone. The ROI on mentorship is not soft. It's measurable and it compounds. So see that again. Entrepreneurs who receive mentorship are 70% more likely to survive past 5 years and grow their revenue 3.5 times faster than those who go alone. Those are stats. Okay. Pay attention to those because they're important for you. If I could take out of a business owner's vocabulary, I can't afford your program, I would take it out. You can't afford not to do things like this. And it may not be mine. It may be something else in your business. Maybe you don't need lessons in AI, tech, and automation. So I'm just telling you in general, we've paid for, in the last year, Natasha and I have invested close to $100,000 in professional and personal development, skill set, mentorship programs, and rooms to be in. Almost $100,000 in the last, I'll say 12 to 18 months. I don't regret a single dollar of it, not one. I'm still studying every single one of those programs because if we had not made those investments, we would not be where we are at right now. I feel like I have moved further forward in the last 12 to 18 months, personally and professionally, than I have in my entire adult career because we made those investments. We did not have the money before we did it, you guys. So it's not like our business was just floating all this cash that we could pour into it. Each one of those, we borrowed, we paid it off. We borrowed, we paid it off. Okay. Every single one of them. There's not one of them that we just had the cash lying around in the bank account. We were like, here you go, take it. No, we knew we were taking it and we knew we were making an investment. Some of it was for me personally. Some of it was loans out of the business, but we made sure that we made it happen. If you don't invest in your team and yourself, you don't grow. I will die on that hill. So think about a professional athlete. She has a strength coach, a nutritionist, a sports psychologist, a position coach, and a film study partner. Not because she's weak, but because she's serious. The more elite the athlete, the more support she has around her. Business is the same. The CEOs who are scaling the fastest are not the ones doing it alone. They're the ones with the most mentors in their corner. The most expensive thing in business is not the mentor. It's the years, the months, the days you spend trying to figure it out without one. And the faster you learn that lesson, the faster you will go. Okay, so what I would do differently if I were starting just this year over with, because we've moved pretty fast just since January 1. So if I had a time machine, I could go back to January 1 and start the year over. Here's exactly what I would change. I would have hired a director of operations in the sales role first thing, day one, before anything else, because those are the two seats that unlock the most capacity in a business like ours. Operations frees me from the back end. Sales creates the revenue that is not dependent on me being in every single conversation. Every month we waited on those hires cost us more momentum. And momentum at this stage of business is the most expensive thing that you can lose. I would have, number two, deployed AI into operations on January 1, not February, not after the next launch, not when things slowed down, January 1. We talk about this in episode 74, what it looked like when we actually went all in on AI inside the business. 336 hours of work, $47,000 in equivalent labor, 5 roles in only 7 days from us deploying some AI into our operations. That was what was available to us. And if you had pulled, if I had pulled the trigger on that in January instead of waiting, we would have had 5 additional months of compounding on that investment. Just add that up. It makes me squirm a little bit, but we're going all in now. Okay. So every month you wait to deploy AI into your operations is a month of compounding you do not get back. And I would have invested even more money and resources into AI infrastructure from day one of this year, because the ROI on that investment, it's not linear, it's exponential. The systems get smarter, the automations get tighter, the data gets more accurate. And every week that goes by, the business runs better than the week before automatically. That's the key word. Okay. Here's the thing I want you to hear. I think most of my biggest, most impactful lessons came before 2026. The moat lesson, the hiring lesson, the focus lesson, the mentorship lesson, those were expensive. Those took years. And that's exactly why this year is going to soar, because we paid for the education, we invested, we learned. And now in 2026, we are scaling capacity. We are adopting and deploying massive AI. We are building with the kind of clarity and infrastructure that only comes from having made those mistakes and actually learned from them. And that's the power of doing the work. You earn the clarity that makes the next season even faster. The lessons you pay for this year are the speed you operate at in the next year. So I want to slow this down for just a second before we close, because I think the most valuable thing I can give you today is not the framework. The framework is useful, but this is what changes how you move. You cannot outwork a broken structure. Every season, I spent grinding harder instead of building smarter, and that was time I cannot get back. More hours did not fix the fact that the business was built around me and Natasha. More effort did not fix the fact that we were spreading across too many offers and too many channels. More hustle did not fix the fact that we had the wrong people in the wrong seats. Structure fixes those things, not effort. The right room changes everything. When we sat in that room with the Hormozy team, when we invested in the mentors and the programs that pushed us, we did not just learn new things. We became different operators. The quality of those rooms you put yourself in determines the quality of the business that you build. That's not just a nice idea. It's actually the mechanism of growth. AI was always going to be a part of this. The question was only when. And the entrepreneurs who answer that question with now, right at the start, woven into the infrastructure from day one, are going to look back and be so grateful they did not wait. The version of me that started over with this knowledge would have hit every goal in half the time. And that version really can be you. So here's what I want to leave you with. You do not have to learn all of this the hard way. You do not have to spend years of building a moat around yourself before you realize that the moat is what is actually trapping you. And you do not have to keep every wrong hire because your heart is too loyal to let go. You do not have to spread across 10 offers and 10 channels before you discover that one, done deeply, is what actually works. And you do not have to figure it out alone. You have the lessons. You just have to go out and do now and be and deploy these things. So the question is, what do you do with them? And if you're sitting there thinking, I want to build this right, I want to do it in the right order with the right support around me, then I want you to be in that room with me. I want to be in that room with you. Inside Self-Made Hub, we give you systems, we give you strategy, and we give you the mentorship to build all of this the right way from the foundation up, with AI woven in from day one, with real humans in your corner who have already walked the path that you're on. So if you There's going to be some things in the show notes like the calculator and whatnot, but you can head to self-made.biz, check all the things out that we do. Sign up for our next free workshop. If you haven't been to that yet, sign up for our next challenge. I think it's going to be probably about the time this episode is airing, but we're going to be doing them on a regular basis. So go sign up for our next challenge, get your feet wet, see who we are, spend 5 days with us, or you can book a call with us and we can look at where you're at, what you're building, and map out the exact sequence that will get you where you want to go. So all those links will be in the show notes. Don't wait, build it right, build it in the right order, build it now, build it with some mentorship, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're getting value from these conversations, don't let this be the only episode that you listen to. Every episode of this podcast is designed to help you build a smarter business, one with real systems behind the scenes, not just ideas, motivation, or hustle. We break down what's actually working right now when it comes to automation, content, follow-up, and scaling without the burnout. If you want to see how all of this comes together in real life, I highly recommend watching the Self-Made Hub demo. Inside the Self-Made Hub, you'll see how entrepreneurs turn content into leads and leads into conversations and conversations into consistent sales using simple automated systems that don't feel overwhelming or cold. You can watch the demo anytime at self-made.biz/demo. Then queue up another episode because the shift doesn't happen from one conversation. It happens when you start connecting all the dots. And I'll see you in the next episode.